Yes. I know what that sound means. In the paddock at 1, Rini and the Cheese, celebrating 75 years of Formula One this weekend, boys and girls. How about that? But after stops in the Down Under, the Middle East, Asia, and the States, Round 7 sees Formula One return back home to mainland Europe, to a small little village on the banks of the Santerno River. 56 miles from Maranello as well. A little town called Emilia. It's the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. The closest city to Emilia, did you know this, Michael, is Bologna. 21 miles away. The University of Bologna was founded in 1088, Michael. They've been teaching school a long time there. Check out the two towers that were built in the 12th century. Or stop and get, do you know this, Michael? Bologna is home to where the Tortellini comes from.
Ooh, I love I've
Tortellini, Alfredo. Let's get some of that sent in my way. Please and thank you.
We're in the middle of nowhere. Is your point? Just us and the Tortellini out here, and the race cars.
You're up in the hills of Italy, baby. This ain't no travel show. This is an F1 show, and we're racing. Oh yes, I love it. You know, I love this name. Autodromo Enzo Itino Ferrari. That's right, but we just call it Italy, boys and girls. It's an old school driver's track, narrow, classic. 3.05 miles, 19 corners, and some classic of Formula One in there. You got Tamburello, Tosa, one of my favorites, Piratello, Aqua Minerale, the Ravazes. You give it the full beam for 65% of your lap. And maybe the last time we were in Imola, but it did not disappoint. Provided a fantastic race. Max got off to a great start, broke late into Tamburello to take the lead over Oscar, and pretty much dominated the race there most of the way after that. Little late safety car, but Max dominates. Takes the win. Red Bull's 400th race, and Max wins that. Lando takes second. Oscar takes third. We are caffeinated. We are medicated. Really good day, sir.
Good day, Cheese. What a day. What a weekend. In what could have potentially been a boring race, turned out to be a quite exciting race, and I think some of the best passing we have seen all season. Right off the bat, you had that Max Verstappen pass on Oscar Piastri, which is going to be on a highlight reel for a long time to come.
Mm-hmm.
That's for damn sure. And you're looking at a 22-point margin that separates first and third right now.
Mm-hmm.
First and third separated by 22 points, with Max Verstappen getting the win. Lando Norris finishing second. Could have passed Oscar Piastri way earlier. Didn't. We'll get to that in a little bit. And you got 21 points separating 5th to 8th. So we are bunched up in both the midfield or midsection of the top 10 there and the top of the top 10. So anything can happen, as we are only 7 races in, and you almost had just a devastating weekend for Ferrari. They saved that today from an absolutely devastating home weekend. You throw in the Kimi Antonelli home race kerfuffle. Good thing you get 2 in Italy. You get a chance to make that one up, because that was a disaster. Not just of a day for him. It seemed like a mechanical error that took him out, but just not a good weekend from qualifying perspective as well. So that's your Italian first leg of Europe, first leg of Italy, as we'll be back here later in the season for Monza. And away we go. What are your thoughts on that first pass? I guess that was the whole race. Max Verstappen's first pass is just pretty much the whole race. Because once he passed him, he held on. And held on pretty tight. Won by over 6 seconds as well. So break it down. I know there was a lot of errors by McLaren. We had a 3.5-second pit stop. You're not expecting that from McLaren. You get a few things go wrong for McLaren, and maybe Piastri not being aggressive enough right off the bat there to keep Max off. But what are your thoughts on that early pass, and what are your thoughts on Max's performance and McLaren's performance?
Well, that was just a brilliant pass by Max. I mean, he went late on the brakes and just took that. Let's be honest. That was goddamn brilliant. That was freaking brilliant. But it's it's Max Verstappen. The man's pretty much the man's a legend now. He's got 4 world titles. I mean, he could. The cars was duff all weekend. They found a little something going in the quali because then he throws the thing, almost on pole. Max is just that damn good. It doesn't matter what the car it kind of is. He makes the car better than what it is. So we're watching something there. Red Bull stayed out on the tires. It looked like the mediums were rough there when everybody started jumping off early. But it looked like they came back a little bit after that. Maybe a little bit, once you get past that little bit of that graining period. Definitely looked like that, instead of coming in early, Red Bull, I think, gained some spots there. And then with the disaster with the Piastri stop, 3.5 seconds. I mean, you can't have that if you want to win a race in Formula One.
It's crazy how every second matters now. Every second matters. No one's winning races by 40 seconds anymore. No one's lapping the field.
Well,
it's tight.
Well, that did happen last race with McLaren running away with that.
It did happen, but it's not no one. But let me rephrase that: it's happening less and less. Yeah. We're not seeing anyone taking off, and 6 seconds may seem like a lot.
Clean air is huge, especially at Imola. Let's be honest too. So, but Max in front he dominated the race right from the jump. I mean, maybe Russell might have had a better jump there at the start, but he kind of got boxed in, and Max just took that on the outside, broke late in the Tamburello, and made a brilliant pass, and took it. I mean, McLaren made the mistake in the pits. That will kind of do it. I mean, even late with the restart, I mean, Max is brilliant at the restart, making that jump at the right time and scooting away and getting that clear that 1 second, so you don't have the car behind it doesn't have the DRS on you. And
would Lando Norris have had a shot if Oscar Piastri let him pass or created a situation where he could pass earlier than with just 5 laps left in the race? Because it just seemed like Piastri didn't have it today.
No, I don't really think it really would have mattered, to be honest. I mean, Max he had it. Max would have. And you think Lando's going to pass Max on a tight track like Imola, where it's narrow and it's hard to pass? I mean, we did see some fantastic passing on a tight racetrack, which is why I hope they come back to Imola, especially next year with the cars being a little bit smaller. Still not, small enough to be honest, but it's a driver's track, and Max is a dude, man. Max is just a dude. And I don't see, even if Norris could have got close, I don't see at all of Norris making a pass on Max. Not an Imola. No chance. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Like, I don't think I don't think so at all. I mean, he's trouble passing Max anywhere, but there at Imola, where it's tight and narrow, forget about it. No.
If you're gonna pass in Imola, you got to make it great, and they did. And obviously you saw the other side of things, and we'll get to that in a little bit, and the dangerous side of Imola, and the situations, of course, that have happened over the years, most famously with Ayrton Senna. But it really, really is an interesting track, a track that may go away again. It's gone away before in 2006. It came back in 2019. And it could go away again and can come back again. It's been on and off for many, many seasons, back even into the 40s, maybe 1933 maybe, that track goes back to. So Imola's not going anywhere as a track. It may be leaving F1 for a little bit though, but I truly believe it'll come back at some point. And it's in the middle of freaking nowhere. But speaking of the middle of freaking nowhere, that means I'm going to strap on my helmet. It is time. I jump on the cockpit. I got 3 questions coming my way. Because I got to get 3 purple sectors. Or I'm just in the back of the pack. It's Quizmaster's cockpit. Jeez. Speaking of history, I don't know where you're going to go here. I don't think this is just going to be the 4 or 5 Emilia Romagna races we've had this decade. I'm sure you're going to be throwing some curveballs in here, and let's see what I can recall, because this was a studying week for me, because there's a lot of history, a lot of races. This track was called a lot of different things, so I have no idea where you're shooting from in this one, so... Go for it, sir.
So here we go. Question number 1, sir. You should get this one. Before 2020, when was the last race in Formula One held at Imola?
San Marino Grand Prix in 2006?
That is correct.
Yes.
Question number 2. Since returning to Imola, who is the only other driver to win a race outside of Max Verstappen?
I believe it's Lewis Hamilton.
That is correct. Lewis won it in 2020. When the return race. Oh boy, that's 2 for 2. Here we go. Get that suspense music.
I don't know. It's been once this season. So we've had 6 Quizmasters cockpits. I've only done it once, but I think 2 out of 3 the last ones. I think this is the 4th time I'm going to the final round. So I've definitely brushed up my game for 2025. Let's see if I can put it down. Let's go.
Question number 3. So we got purple sector. 2 teams are tied for the most wins, or constructor for the most wins in Formula One at Imola with 8. Both have 8 wins. Can you name them?
Talking about like
No, constructors, like team.
Teams.
2 teams have 8 wins.
Ferrari's got to be one of them.
That is one.
I think I know. I think it's not McLaren. Is it Williams?
That is correct.
Yes!
Wow. Wow. Ding, ding, ding. Let's go.
Yes.
Wow.
You did not think I would pull that off.
No, I did not. No, I did
not think I would pull that off.
Wow. That is a hot lap, boys and girls.
That is a hot laugh. That was the best hot laugh I've had in a while. Oof.
Wow.
I'm sweating.
Oof.
Which means I am unprepared because we're going into winners start for
first,
our winners and losers segment.
Which is not what I had written first. So how about that?
When you think I'm going to win, I lose. When you think I'm going to lose, I win. So, it's just... Always keep them guessing, right? Always keep them guessing.
I'm going to put Ferrari. A 4th and 6th after that disastrous, absolutely shitting the bed in qualifying. To do a 4th and 6th that was fantastic. Lewis, top 5. His best finish at Ferrari outside of the sprint race in China. So that's huge. Car still got a ways to go. The car seems better in race trim than in quali trim, but still, it's got a long way to go. But 4th and 6th, that is big. Alex Albon Second top 5 in a row. Got to give it up to Alex. Definitely got to give it up. Williams has turned that thing around. And Alex actually is another driver that's pushing him, and it's about time he's showing what he can do.
What I love about Alex Albon is how pissed he was that he came in 5th.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually not just like, wow, I came in 5th, great job, and you had two Williams as well in the top 10. So Williams, a heck of a day for them. They got 51 points on the year. They have pulled well ahead of Haas. They were tangling a little close with there. But yeah, absolutely. I would give it to Williams and Ferrari. I know you didn't mention Carlos Sainz. Got to give it to Isaac Hadjar. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. The kid is just rolling right now. The fact that he's looking better and better, and he's looking better than Yuki Tsunoda, who I'll get to in a second. But gotta love Hadjar and what he's done, and his maturity as well. I've heard several interviews with him, and his maturity, he seems just like a cool customer, man. He's just way calmer than I'd be in that seat. That's for damn sure. And I'm going to give it to Yuki Tsunoda in the winners. He scored a point, went from, of course, 20th to 10th. I know everyone is now talking about how awesome it was that Yuki went from 20th to 10th, and nobody said shit besides me, when Ollie Behrman went from 20th to 10th like a couple races ago. So I just want to say the bias against Haas is palpable here. But Yuki Tsunoda, got to give it up to him from 20th to 10th, giving Red Bull a double top 10 finish. Very rare double points finish for Red Bull this season.
Still not good enough, to be honest. I mean, he also trashed the car this weekend too. So
absolutely, and those who saw it, that was a scary crash. I mean, for the fact that the guy
that was a bad
got
mistake
out of
that
there,
he made too.
That was a scary crash, especially at Emilia. You don't want, that's the last thing you want to see, especially at Emilia. It leaves a pit in your stomach when you see a crash like that anywhere, let alone at that racetrack this weekend. So a scary moment, but you got to still give it up to him. Which is going to bring us, of course, sir, back to you and to losers.
Lance Stroll, fantastic during quali. Would he finish like 15th or something?
15th, yeah.
Just what do you expect? Like Lance, he does something good and then he goes back and he craps the bed. So just a mess. Pinto. I mean, that weekend was disastrous. Just disastrous. Yeah, those will be mine. It was a disaster.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
speaking of disaster,
nothing else you can say to that. That was a disaster.
Yeah, disaster. I mean, Kimi Antonelli at his home race there. That was just absolutely just an absolute mess and a disaster as well for him. Obviously, that wasn't his fault. Seemed like sounds like an engine failure that happened there that put him out of the race. But not even getting into Q3 in qualifying was definitely.
Merc was struggling in the heat.
Merc definitely struggled all weekend.
That Italian sun, the car did not agree with the heat. So, is that going to be a little trend that's going to be moving forward? That this gets a little too warm and they're overheating their tires, and because Russell was complaining that had no grip like all weekend, even into the race. He was like, I can't do this. The rear is all over the place. Can you check to see if something's broken? Like that's how bad it was. So I think something with the heat probably had something to do with Kimi's car failing. So Merc is trouble sometimes in the heat, it seems, the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was you're probably going to get a lot of hot Sundays in Europe coming up. So we'll see what Merck does, maybe coming down to earth a little bit and giving Ferrari a shot to climb up into a solid second place after their great weekend here. Hopefully they keep it up. Heading into Monaco, I got to give it up as well to, on the downside, of course, when Haas does well, you got to give it up for them. And when they do terrible, it was just an absolute terrible weekend, right to the back of the pack. This is not a team that looks like they're the sixth best constructors. They look like one of the worst teams this weekend. That was for damn sure. And it was just a sad, pathetic weekend for Haas. Couldn't get anything going. I said before the Ollie Behrman bullshit where he pretty much was going to get out of Q1 and didn't after the Colapinto crash. So, who I thought was going to get slapped, but I don't know if you got someone else here because...
I need to slap my goddamn for that.
Of course.
I need to slap my goddamn for that.
We're just going to give it to the whole team of Alpine for the slap. Yes,
the
we did
whole
mention
team.
Colapinto, but I mean, I think he should be mentioned twice because he took a man's job and then he just a complete disaster. I mean, it's no worse than the guy who you replaced. That's one thing you can't do. When you're replacing a guy at any job, you can't, because he did something stupid and they fire him. You can't then do that same stupid thing. I mean, you can't do that.
It's a great point. That's a great life point.
Like, you can't do that. They replace somebody for doing something stupid. You can't then do something stupid. Trash the car and then finish the back of the pack. That's just not going to happen. Gasly, early in the race there, making the bad decision to try and go side by side and do Piratella, which that's not happening either. So that's foolish. So Alpine had a chance to actually gain some points there with Gasly. That didn't happen. And Colapinto's the absolute disaster replacing. So maybe Alpine didn't make the best decision of replacing Duhan, because it doesn't seem like it's made any change whatsoever. I mean, it's been one race, yes, but that is not the way you want to get off to a start, because you're pretty much going to be shot mentally right up to that point and know that you're in the hot seat right off the bat because you trashed the car that quick and finish the back of the pack doing the same thing that the guy you're replacing is doing. So, I mean, that's not good. You got to think you're in the hot seat right off the bat. Right off the bat.
You're spitting fire over there. You were lost for words there for a moment. You're lost for words. Well, I know what you're probably...
I need to slap my goddamn for that.
All right, we'll go back for an extra slap there, because I think Alpine deserves it. And Alpine just being just terrible this year outside of Sauber is just right in the back of the pack there, and just only a point difference. So pretty much dead last this year for Alpine, who had a decent season last couple seasons. Definitely was not dead last. Now they're just right back there, and pretty sad to see.
Ah, yes! That sound means the best damn sound of the week. Take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island, Freetopia, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis? Oh yes, my friends. That cannabis grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it. Look at it. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. Oh, that air smells fantastic. We take a little walk to the top of the hill this week. It's gambling week. We're racing. Our tickets in hand. Are we cashing in or are we? Check it out.
I think a mixed bag this week. A mixed bag. You were definitely skeptical about the week for sure. You had some low bets there, but you had a bunch of bets. Let's go over yours first. Piastri, Max, Russell, trifecta. You didn't hit that one, but you threw in two trifectas. Going for it. You also had Piastri, Max, Norris. You hit that one plus 100. It seemed to be, that was a box. That seemed to be the popular choice of the weekend. So plus 100 there. Saved you a little bit of cash. Aston Martin, double top 10. You had that. That was a big fat loser. Maybe that's why you had a little bit of extra extra venom there. I think when we go from losers right into slap, I think you get a little bit of extra head of steam there. I think that's what happened there. So you had Aston Martin, definitely not in the double top 10. You had Max Verstappen with the win plus 300. So that was your big win of the weekend. Plus 300 for the Max win. You don't get plus 300 on a Max win often, especially when you start in front row. So that was really good. You also had Lando Norris winning, so you double dipped. So when you double dip, obviously you're not going to win both, but you definitely won enough to be plus for the week. I cannot say the same. I definitely had Ferrari double top 6, which did not yield as much as I thought, especially with that 11th and 12th start. Plus 175 for the Ferrari double top 6, which I took. Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, George Russell I had for my trifecta that did not come through. Piastri fastest lap, that didn't come through. And Ollie Bearman, who was looking at one point to finish in that top 10, plus 1,100. It was so tasty, but that did not come through at all as he finishes like 16th or 17th or something towards the back there. So I did win one, but I lose yield loss 75, so that takes me to 4,075 greenie bucks. You won, but you made 25, so I got to do some calculations here. You're making me do math, sir, but you're up somewhere around 4,400, so you're probably up around 400 greenie bucks or so. I'll have to do the final calculations as I never ran my own gambling site before. This is as close as we're coming here. So we'll work on that. But yeah, you're definitely up 400 and change greenie bucks as we go into the 8th race of the season and my birthday weekend, as we have every single year in Monaco. Leaves us, of course, with the final segment of the show, as always, boys and girls, and that is In the News. What do you got from the news desk, sir?
I got a bunch for you. Actually, I just actually added one as well. I got two for you from Cadillac. Well, we'll get to those in a minute. Max Verstappen was seen secretly testing a Ferrari GT3 car at the Nürburgring. He apparently set a lap record.
Max will do that. Max will do that. Plus the Nuremberg ring. That man's raced around that ring many, 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 many of times.
It's an interesting little tidbit. This could be the last time racing in Imola. There's not a contract in place at the moment. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know we mentioned it earlier in the program, but seems to be more crashes than any other track that we're on. You had a couple
It's a classic
couple big
driver's
ones.
racetrack. You got to be able to. Maybe it just shows that there's maybe some people out in the grid that maybe shouldn't be there. It's a driver's track. Old school.
Maybe there's not enough drivers in the world that can race 200 miles plus an hour around this track. Maybe that's just it, and we're seeing the results of that. I mean, Yuki flipping that car. He could have been seriously injured. He got lucky as hell to not get seriously injured in that one. We saw a lot.
Make a mistake.
Saw a lot. We saw millions of.
It's not like a regular race. Other racetracks when there's once you get your tire off track a bit, there's not asphalt and grass and stuff. There's gravel traps. So
nope.
That upsets the car, and then you're toast. So you can't be making mistakes. It's a driver's track, old school driver's track. Brings out the best. It's classic. It's a classic Formula One track. I think it has to be back, personally. I mean, the drivers love it. It's a proper racetrack. Up and down the hills. You get it all. You get it all. High-speed corners. I love Imola. You know this. But I love Imola. It's a classic driver's track.
It's the Thunderdome. And that's why you love it.
It's just a classic. I love it. That track.
All right, what else you got, sir?
Apparently, Yuki Tsunoda has been told that if he doesn't pick his game up, Isaac Ajara could be replacing him. How about that?
Isaac Hajar looked better than this weekend.
Very long.
Isaac Hajar looked better than Yuki this weekend. Yeah. Isaac Hajar didn't wreck a car. Nope. Isaac Hajar had more points than Yuki did this weekend. Isaac Hajar's finished ahead of Yuki a lot of weekends. I know he's a kid. He's also acting more mature at his age versus what Yuki was at his age. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
There's no doubt about that.
That's facts. All right, our final two, both about Cadillac. First one, Cadillac's chassis that they have produced themselves passed the FIA crash test. That is a huge step for Cadillac as a team. To pass that test is huge. So definitely becoming more real.
Yes, I won't like a Cadillac Formula One until it starts, like bouncing up and down. What do you call it? The hydraulics? Put those in there. West Coast gangster. That's you get. Now, listen, Cadillac's had plenty of time to think about this, and they have plenty of money in it too. And I think that $500 million buy-in, which I talked about many times already, was cheap. I really feel to buy into Formula One at $500 million, which is more money than I'll ever see in 10 lifetimes. But for these guys, it's probably not as big of a deal. And now you got to invest in the car. And you got to get it right. And if you can't get the chassis approved, if you can't get these things approved, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now, they could have had it shot down and we never heard of it, though, at the same time. There could have been issues behind the scenes that weren't released to the press for a reason, for Cadillac's sake. Mm-hmm. But as far as Cadillac in general goes, yeah, they're gonna put together a good car. I think they're gonna put together a really decent car that'll probably be towards the back of the pack, but won't be a complete disaster. And starts with building the chassis and starts with building the basic car and getting it approved. And you really kind of are stuck until you get it approved. If you don't get it approved, you're kind of stuck in gear. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm. It's a big step.
What else you got?
And also with Cadillac. You're not going to believe this one, I don't think.
All right.
Part of it, yes. The second part, probably not. But apparently this has been gaining a lot of steam for the Cadillac drivers lineup. Sergio Perez, and because they will be using a Ferrari motor for the next couple seasons till they get their own engine program up and running. This driver is actually the Ferrari's test driver, but Zhou Guan Yu, Sergio Perez as the possible Cadillac lineup. How about that?
Interesting. Very interesting. I thought you were going to say Schumacher. But very interesting. Yeah, I mean, listen, the Asian market, the Chinese market specifically, is a humongous market. And just like they shoved Yuki in that car before the Japanese, Grand Prix, seeing how well that's working out as, it's not, and it's just, it's interesting. The chatter is interesting, and it gets people involved. Listen, the rumors are worth more.
Rumors are rumors. I mean, there's still, Colton Hurd is still rumored to be possibly getting that seat as they, I think there's also a push to have an American in the car since it is an American team. I think that's something to do. I think there's a push for that as well. So there's a couple Americans out. There's a couple other drivers in IndyCar themselves that are also rumored to for that seat as well.
Pat O'Rourke,
Pat O'Ward, and Alex Palou are definitely.
Alex Palou, who's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. But IndyCar versus F1, if you want to see the difference, and those who are like, oh, it's the same thing, and those who don't watch F1 or watch F1 and IndyCar, just there's plenty of YouTube videos out there to show how Formula One cars just smoke Indy cars. All right, it's not even close.
There's a couple of videos of interviews with Pat Ward, and they asked him what's the difference, and he just goes do like 5 minutes on how it's absolutely insane a Formula One car compared to an Indy car.
Yeah, I think they just had an Indy car over at the Catalonian racetrack a couple weeks ago against an F1 car. I think it was an 18-second difference, something like that. I think it was 18 seconds around the track. I think they've finished like a minute 40 versus the F1 car at like a minute 22 or something like that. So not even close. Not even close. So, but that doesn't mean that an IndyCar driver can't move over, especially an American or North American IndyCar driver as well. I think if you had a good Canadian driver, Canada has a wonderful F1, fan base, and I think that would give a little bit. I mean, I know they tried with Latifi. I know they tried. Still trying with Lance Stroll, which that will never end. He'll be in his 40s, still racing that car. Yeah, they have no Mexican drivers right now. It's really no North American drivers, but you have 5 races in North America between Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. That's 20% of your schedule.
Also, I believe there's also rumors that Canada could be coming off of the calendar as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's not a huge draw.
I think that the track has become stale also. The circuit de Villeneuve it's become a little stale. So.
It's a little boring. The
races have not been a lot to show. So
it hasn't been exciting in a very long time in Canada.
I think that has to do with it, but I think there's probably a very good bet that you'll definitely. I think we'll probably have an American driver in that seat. It's an American team, American car company. I think it makes sense, especially with having 3 races in the United States. I think you want an American driver on an American team. So I think that's probably the way they end up going. But you never know.
Are you throwing your hat in the ring, sir?
I don't think I'm getting a call. As much as I would love it, I don't think I'm getting a call.
You thought about it for a second. All right. I think that's all in the news we got time for this week. Where are we going in a short turnaround here in the first leg of a triple header?
We're going to the glitz, the glam, the parties on those big old yachts. That's right. It's Monaco, baby. Monaco, baby.
The cool Las Vegas. Damn straight. Right. The OG. The OG. That is for damn straight. We will see everyone next week. As always, we'll have the podcast up, as we always do, around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the New York metropolitan area. And from around the world, thank you everyone for checking in. I was going to read off some of the locations this week, but there's so many locations. Portland, Oregon, Martinsburg, West Virginia, Bangkok, Maricopa, Arizona checking in, Frankfurt, Germany checking in this week, Vienna, Austria checking in, Hanoi, Vietnam checking in this week, Sydney, New South Wales, Frisco, Texas, Syracuse, New York, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Melbourne also checking in, and that's just a short list of people that are checking in from around the world listening to the pod. Thank you all. We could not do this without you. As I'm overwhelmed every time I look at these lists of just hundreds of cities checking in over the course of the week. And we really appreciate everything everyone does. Of course, if you want to email the show, check us out on YouTube. You know where to find us. And if you want to donate to the show, the button is always there. You can check in, you can send us a message, or you can donate right into our account and become a member. for a special shout out. So do that, and we'll see you all next week. Say what you got to say, brother.
See you guys in Monaco. Until then,
Peace.
stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.